Okay, we're gonna make a video, Penny. We're gonna make a video. Hello, welcome to Miss Peepers Reading Corner. I'm Katrina, aka Miss Peepers, and this is Miss Penny, and we're here to talk to you about books. Today we're gonna do the I'm so annoyed book tag, which friends and family will probably tell you is the perfect book tag for me. I first saw this on Erin Facer's channel, but the tag was actually created by Kelly at Books I'm Not Reading. I'll link both of them below. And it's basically a series of questions about the bookish things that annoy you. So let's jump in. Do publishers ever do things that you find annoying? Give an example. Well, as a matter of fact, they do. I love these Penguin editions. They're gorgeous. This one's David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. But one thing that annoys me about these editions is that the footnotes are at the back. I love a footnote, but having to flip back and forth, especially in a book this size, to find the exact footnote that I need, to find the chapter, and then do you put a bookmark back here and then it falls out while you're trying to read the other? It's annoying and it's not worth it. Put the footnotes at the bottom of the page. There aren't so many that they wouldn't fit. That's how I feel about that. Have you ever been annoyed by a spoiler? How about someone telling you a spoiler? You know, with books, interestingly enough, I'm not as bothered about spoilers as I am with, say, movies or TV shows. In a book, it takes longer to get to that spoiler point, so you have more time to watch it unfold. Whereas in, say, a movie, you're there within 2 hours, generally. I do get annoyed by spoilers if it's like a mystery or something that's very specifically the answer or the thing that was spoiled is what the whole story is driving towards. I'll give a movie example. When I went to see Citizen Kane for the first time, I was literally on my way to go watch it, and someone that I ran into on my way told me who Rosebud was, knowing, because I had just said it, that I had never seen the movie. That's not a great way to watch that movie. I'll bet it's a lot better and more interesting if you don't know the ending. So yeah, I've been annoyed by spoilers. I can't remember of a book example though. I think a lot of times I'm reading different things from the people that I interact with, so I don't typically get the spoiler. Have you ever been annoyed by what you discovered in a little free library? Oh yeah. I enjoy a tiny library a lot. We've got one in our neighborhood. I call them tiny libraries because that's what the item in Animal Crossing is called. In general, I love a tiny library, but recently I went to the one in my neighborhood and someone had put 2 books in there, very damp at the bottom when I got there. Maybe they were only a little bit damp at the bottom when they first went in. I don't know. Water, books, bad match, especially in a small enclosed space. And overall, this tiny library is very well contained, so it does keep the elements out, but I didn't take a single book from that, even though there were 1 or 2 that I thought I might be interested in because I just didn't know if they had all been infected. Mold, I'll mess with mold. You see mold, it's got to go. So that very much annoyed me. When it comes to short story collections, are you annoyed if there's a novella in the middle of the collection? Yes. Yes, I am. But not because I dislike novellas. I actually like novellas, but if I'm reading a bunch of short stories and suddenly I hit a novella, it disrupts my flow, because typically I'll read a book of short stories, 1 story here, 1 story there, and I have an idea of how long it takes me to get through a story in that particular book. And so when I go from like 30 pages, 30 pages, 30, 30, 30, and then 70, I'm like, what happened? So I'm not, yeah, that does annoy me. That does annoy me. And because it disrupts my flow, I find I'm more likely to dislike the novella than I probably would be if it were at the beginning or if I picked it up separately, knowing that that's what that was. How about deckled edges? Beautiful or annoying? I love a deckled edge. I've got an example right here. I love it. I know it annoys people because it is harder to flip to a specific page. but that doesn't bother me. I love the texture of it. I love the feel of it, just like flipping the pages. And I typically, when I turn a page in a book, I do start either from the top or the bottom most of the time. I rarely, as I'm reading, try to turn, yeah, it's hard. It's hard with the deckled edge, but I love them. I love the grittiness. Let's see if I can get a good angle. There we go. I love the sort of like grittiness of the book. It makes it feel older, even if it's brand new. And I just think that's really fun. Have you ever found other people's annotations in used books or library books? Do you find it annoying or is it okay? This is two separate questions. Library books, absolutely not okay. We're living in a society that is not your book. It was never your book. You know that you're going to turn that book back in and someone else is going to pick it up. Keep your annotations out. Now, if you like leave a tab in there or something, I'm okay with that. But why are you annotating a book that's not yours? Used books are a little bit different in that at one point it was yours, so you can annotate it. I've definitely many times purchased a used book and found like a couple of underlines, maybe a highlight or two, or a couple words in the margin. That doesn't bother me at all. If it's heavily annotated, which I've never run into, but if I were to buy a used book that were heavily annotated and it was not sold as a heavily annotated book, because I know some people do sell their fully annotated copies, if you tell me that's what I'm getting, then I'm okay. If it's a surprise and I wasn't expecting that, then it's not okay. So I have not personally been annoyed by that, but those are the situations in which I would be. If there's a series or imprint collection and changes are made to it, are you annoyed? I don't read a whole lot of series, and so for me, I haven't really personally run into this. The one series that I have that has completely different editions, and you can sort of see them back here, is my Terry Pratchett Discworld series. But I knew I was buying a whole bunch of different editions, and I would at some point like to upgrade them all to the cloth-bound editions, which would be pretty cool. But yeah, if it's that would annoy me, but I haven't run into that, so I remain blissfully unannoyed by that at this moment. That could change at any time. Have you ever been annoyed by how someone organizes their books? Far be it from me to tell anyone how to organize their own book collections, but that doesn't mean I won't be annoyed by it. If there is no organization, that's probably the worst I can think of, because how do you find your book? I personally, my books are organized by genre and then by author. For the most part, I've got them in publish order. There are probably a couple of mistakes in there, but if I'm looking for a particular author, I can find it pretty quickly. My TBR is completely disorganized because I am very much a mood reader, so I'll just grab whatever. So I actually kind of like that being disorganized, but when I finish a book, assuming I decide to keep it, it goes in my shelf in the genre with the author, so I can find it again. Rainbow bookshelves look lovely, but unless you just don't have a lot of books, and therefore it is a very compact collection, so you don't have to do a lot of sifting to find it. I don't really understand that structure of rainbowing your entire shelf. I did see a really cool bookshelf tour by Throne of Pages. I'll put that in the description. She has different shelves with different sorts of organization. Some of her shelves are like a particular color, but not all of them, which is kind of neat. So you can definitely say, here are the 6 pink books that she put together, but then she's got a bunch of other books in different places. It's kind of interesting, but there's very clear intention behind each section of her bookshelf, and that I can get behind. But if it's just throw them on the shelf, I don't get it. I don't get it. I need a judgy book tag. Like, this isn't even the annoyed book tag. This is the judgy book tag. If anyone makes a judgy book tag, go ahead and tag me, because I'm here for it. Share something bookish that you find annoying. As you can probably tell so far, there are going to be a lot of them. I'd probably say the biggest one is people saying that audiobooks are not reading. Audiobooks are reading. It just really irritates me that people say it's not. And I'm a person who does not typically listen to audiobooks. I have trouble concentrating on them. It's not the right medium for me. But if it's the right medium for you, awesome. You're reading a book. You're just listening to someone read it to you. What's wrong with that? I don't quite understand, because when we're kids, you know, we have books read to us, and that's okay and that's expected. But then you hit a certain age and you're no longer allowed to have someone read a book to you. That's silly. The other thing I'll say is that if someone is blind and says, I don't know, I read Catcher in the Rye, and then you find out they listened to the audiobook, would you be like, you didn't read it, you listened to the audiobook? Of course you wouldn't. So why would you judge anyone else for that same behavior? Audiobooks can be really great. I have listened to a couple that I've really enjoyed. I just personally have trouble focusing on one person's voice for so long. I should probably wrap this up with that in mind. Audiobooks are reading, electronic books are reading, and reading physical books also reading. It's all reading. We're all reading, people. Tag other people in this video. I am so new to the YouTube game that it feels weird for me to tag other people, but I'm gonna do it anyway because the prompt said to. I'm gonna tag a couple of the lovely people that I follow that I'd love to hear what annoys them. So I'm gonna tag Leandra the TBR0, Milena Reads, Laura at the Book Hermit, and Nell Diamond. If you're watching this and you have a channel and you want to do this, by all means, consider yourself tagged. You have been tagged. No one tagged me and I did anyway, so why not? So there you have it, a couple of the bookish things that annoy me. What bookish things annoy you? I hope it's not book tags.